The first thing I saw that morning wasn't the sunlight slipping through the curtains or the steaming cup of tea my husband had left on my bedside table. It was my own pain, splashed across Facebook. A single sentence, written in cruel casualness. Sad to announce my sister-in-law lost her baby. Keep her in prayers. Crying face. Followed by dozens of comments from people I barely knew, some offering pity, some prying for details, and a few turning it into gossip. I froze. My chest tightened. My phone buzzed again and again, each vibration another reminder that the most personal, shattering moment of my life had been served to the public like breakfast news. The author of that post? My sister-in-law, Brenda. Brenda and I had never been close, though I had tried for my husband's sake. She was the kind of woman who dressed like she had a photo shoot every day, always speaking loudly so everyone noticed her. She had a habit of turning other people's stories into her own, their joy, their struggles, their pain, all filtered through her lens. When I married Daniel 3 years ago, I hoped Brenda would warm up to me. Instead, she saw me as competition for family attention. She would give backhanded compliments, "Oh, your dress is nice, reminds me of one I wore years ago, only mine was silk," and find sly ways to undermine me in front of my in-laws. Still, I tolerated her. Family was family, and in an African household, you learn to keep the peace. But posting my miscarriage? That was beyond peacekeeping. That was war. 2 weeks earlier, I had been 10 weeks pregnant, the happiest I had been in months. Daniel and I had been trying for over a year. Every prayer, every whispered wish at church had been for this child. The night I lost the baby was one of the darkest of my life. I remember the pain, both physical and emotional, curling me into myself on the bathroom floor. Daniel held me, whispering prayers, his tears wetting my hair. We told no one except my mother. I couldn't bear the pity, the whispers, the endless maybe next time speeches. So seeing Brenda posted online felt like being stabbed in an already open wound. I called her immediately. She answered with her usual sugar-dipped tone. "Oh, hi, dear. Have you seen my post? People are already praying for you." "Brenda," I said slowly, trying to keep my voice steady, "who told you to share that?" "That was private." She gasped dramatically. "Private? I was only helping. People deserve to know so they can support you. You're being so sensitive. It was my pain to share, not yours." She laughed softly. "You're welcome anyway. I have over 3,000 friends on Facebook, more people to pray for you than you could reach yourself." That's when I hung up. Over the next few days, the post spread. Family friends called, old acquaintances sent awkward condolences, and even my coworkers started treating me like a fragile glass vase. But the worst was when I went to church that Sunday. A group of older women, who Brenda often gossiped with after service, surrounded me with sighs and pitying stares. One of them said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "Ah, it's so sad. You know, sometimes these things happen when the mother is too stressed. Maybe she needs to rest more next time." Rest more? I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. I could see Brenda across the courtyard, holding court with her friends, pretending she was the gracious bearer of my story. She even told one woman, "I just felt it was my duty to let everyone know so she's not suffering in silence." I didn't want revenge at first. I just wanted her to understand the pain she caused. But Brenda didn't do apologies. Instead, she doubled down, posting inspirational quotes about loss and tagging me in them. Then one night, Daniel came home looking troubled. "There's something you should know," he said cautiously. I braced myself. "What?" "It's about Brenda's husband, James." James was quiet, polite, and rarely around at family events. I'd always thought he was just busy with work. Daniel hesitated. "There are rumors. He has another family in Kisumu. A woman and 2 kids." I didn't believe it, but someone showed me pictures. Pictures. Proof. At first, I was shocked. Then, slowly, a different feeling crept in. Brenda had taken my tragedy and made it public. What if I took her deepest secret, the kind that could shatter her perfect life image, and made it public too? I didn't rush. I started asking subtle questions. A cousin who lived in Kisumu confirmed it. James had been with the other woman for years, even before marrying Brenda. The kids looked just like him. I found their Facebook profiles, private but not well hidden. There were pictures of James at birthday parties, family picnics, even a school sports day, none of which Brenda ever posted. One photo was the jackpot, James, holding a little girl on his lap, the caption reading, "Daddy came to visit. We missed you." I wrestled with it for days. Posting it would destroy Brenda's marriage. It would humiliate her the way she humiliated me. But it would also drag innocent kids into a mess they didn't deserve. Then I remembered the way she'd smiled when I confronted her about my miscarriage, not an ounce of regret, just self-satisfaction. The scale tipped. It was a Wednesday evening when I finally did it. I took the most telling photo of James and his other family, one where he was cutting a birthday cake with both children, and posted it on my own Facebook. The caption was deliberate. "Since we're in the habit of sharing other people's family matters online, here's Brenda's husband with his other family in Kisumu. May we also keep them in prayers. Red heart." I didn't tag Brenda. I didn't need to. Within minutes, the comments started. Some were shocked, others claimed they always suspected. It spread faster than her post about me. My phone exploded with calls. Daniel told me Brenda was screaming over the phone to their mother, accusing me of ruining her life. Within 2 hours, Brenda deleted her original post about my miscarriage, but it was too late. Screenshots lived forever. By the next morning, James's side of the family had called a meeting. Brenda didn't show up to work. And I felt a strange mixture of satisfaction and guilt. 3 days later, I received a private message from the woman in Kisumu. It read, "Thank you. I didn't know he was married to someone else until now. He told me you were his cousin." I stared at the screen, my stomach twisting. James hadn't just been lying to Brenda, he'd been lying to both women. The secret was out, but instead of ending things, it had just opened a door to a far bigger scandal than I had imagined. And as the truth unfolded, I started to wonder. Had I just unleashed something I couldn't control? The Kisumu woman's message kept replaying in my head like a broken record. "He told me you were his cousin." It was surreal. For years, James had been living a double life, and somehow both women had believed his lies. Brenda, the queen of social media updates, had been blind in her own marriage, while this other woman had unknowingly built a life with a man already taken. I replied cautiously, introducing myself and confirming I was Brenda's sister-in-law. She didn't respond right away. But that evening, she sent more details, voice notes, screenshots of James sending her money, and even videos of him reading bedtime stories to their kids over video call when he was away for work. The evidence was damning. That weekend, Daniel's family held an emergency meeting at their parents' house. I didn't want to go, but Daniel insisted. "You started this, you have to see it through," he said. When we arrived, the tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. Brenda was already there, her eyes red but defiant. James sat beside her, jaw tight, refusing to look at me. Their mother, a dignified woman who hated public embarrassment, began, "This is shameful. I don't care whose fault it is, this has brought disgrace to our family." Brenda immediately pointed at me. "It's her fault. She could have told me privately." Instead, she put it online like some gossip blog. I almost laughed at the hypocrisy. "You mean the way you posted about my miscarriage?" Her mouth snapped shut, but her glare was venomous. James finally spoke, his voice low. "This should have stayed between adults. Now both families are in chaos because of you." I leaned forward. The chaos was already there, James. You just hid it well. I only turned on the light. The room split in two, some siding with me, saying Brenda had crossed a line first, others blaming me for taking it too far. Daniel stayed mostly silent, though I could tell he was torn. After all, Brenda was still his sister. The meeting ended with nothing resolved. But I knew one thing, the truth was out, and there was no stuffing it back in. Over the next week, Brenda's image crumbled. Her friends stopped flooding her posts with heart emojis. People whispered behind her back at church. She posted cryptic Bible verses about betrayal and God's justice but kept her comments section closed. Meanwhile, James's other partner from Kisumu called him out publicly. She posted a long status, tagging him, demanding answers. The post went viral in our small community, dragging both of their names further into the mud. I thought I'd feel triumphant. But instead, I felt heavy. Late one night, Daniel found me sitting in the dark living room. You did what you thought was right, he said gently. Did I? I whispered. Or did I just become like her? He didn't answer, and the silence was louder than words. The next morning, Brenda showed up at my door. Her eyes were swollen from crying, but her voice was steady. You've ruined me, she said. But I'm not going down alone. Before I could ask what she meant, she pulled out her phone, showing me a picture of Daniel, hugging another woman. Let's see how you like it when the internet knows your secrets. I stared at the photo Brenda held out, my stomach twisting. Daniel, my husband, with his arm around another woman in a dimly lit restaurant. The woman's face was turned slightly away, but the intimacy between them was unmistakable. This was taken last month, Brenda said coldly. One of my friends saw them together. My heart pounded in my ears. Why are you showing me this? She smirked bitterly. Because you think you're so righteous. But you're not. You wanted to humiliate me? Now we're even. Then she turned and walked away, leaving me clutching the phone with trembling hands. That night, I waited until Daniel came home. He looked tired, but when he saw my expression, he froze. What's wrong? He asked. I showed him the picture. Explain. He sighed, rubbing his forehead. It's not what it looks like. That's Miriam, an old friend from university. She went through a bad breakup, and I was just comforting her. I searched his face, trying to read the truth. Why didn't you tell me? Because I knew how it would look. And after everything with Brenda, I didn't want to add more drama. I wanted to believe him. But after weeks of lies and secrets swirling around the family, trust suddenly felt fragile. Brenda made her move. In the middle of church service, just as the choir finished singing, she stood up and loudly declared, "Some people here think they're holy, but their marriages are rotting. Ask my sister-in-law about her husband and Miriam." Gasps rippled through the congregation. My hands clenched into fists. The pastor tried to calm everyone, but the damage was done. I could feel eyes burning into me, whispers spreading like wildfire. That night, I sat alone in the bedroom, staring at my phone. I still had proof of James's infidelity, more pictures, more evidence. I could release them all, crush Brenda completely. But then, what? We would keep trading blows until nothing was left of either of us. The children in Kisumu would suffer. Daniel and I might never recover from the constant suspicion. And our family, it would be torn apart beyond repair. I realized revenge hadn't healed me. It had only multiplied the pain. My phone buzzed. It was the Kisumu woman again. "I've decided to leave James," she said. "I don't want my kids growing up around lies. But I also don't want them to grow up knowing I destroyed another woman's life, even if she hurt me." Her words struck me like lightning. I thought about the baby I'd lost. About the kind of person I wanted to be if I ever became a mother again. Did I want my child to see me as someone who fought darkness with more darkness? The next morning, I deleted the remaining photos of James from my phone. I didn't respond to Brenda's continued taunts online. Instead, I posted one final message. Some wounds are best healed in private. Not every battle needs an audience. I pray for everyone fighting silent wars today. The comments were mixed, some praised me, others accused me of weakness. But for the first time in weeks, I felt a strange calm. Daniel and I agreed to counseling. We still had a long road ahead, but at least we were walking it together. As for Brenda, she continued her online theatrics. But without my responses, her flames began to die out. In the end, I learned that revenge might give you a moment of satisfaction, but it rarely brings peace. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to play the game.